Ignore that guy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Could you introduce yourself, please?
I am Matt Peters, and I'm the director of the Super Sons. Keep going.
So, what was your biggest success as you felt, like, coming through the production and, it was the beginning of COVID, kind of when you guys were doing
yeah.
So, what, when you got to the end of the process, what were you most proud of as far as
the fact that we could finish it? Because just as you said, this movie actually started right when COVID happened, and so it was really, we were looking at one another. Well, by Zoom camera, we were kind of looking at one another, going like, is this actually weird? We're doing a show about an invasion of like some kind of spreading virus on the planet, and and the president is out of control, and it just felt like we were like getting a little too close to home. It's like unreal. That was kind of the common joke. So honestly, this was one that our production team just did an outstanding job. They were able to get us set up at home. They were able to set up all the technical aspects that needed to be done. Artists are pretty much left alone. We just draw, and so we had it kind of easy. So our production team deserves like an award for putting this film together, because it was monumental. We had to reinvent the wheel, being able to work as a team from home and just making this thing happen. So I'd say the biggest thing was just getting it done was like an accomplishment for us. Yeah.
Hey man, Terrell. Different projects, anime projects. I keep hearing that the budget is like y'all biggest enemy with these things. You feel like this particular one had a bigger budget with the new animation being CG and everything like that versus the other films?
Yeah, well, the thing that was really interesting about this was we had done CG before, but we did things like it was like a Lego movie or things like that, which you're rendering little plastic characters, and this was like a rendering to try to give it like that kind of 2D, animation feel. And so that was a completely new thing for us. So that was something we would have to consider. There were shots involving shadow that we had to kind of reevaluate and try to figure out how to solve that problem. There were shots that just Rick was in charge of making sure that the characters just looked on point. You have to really kind of focus on how the rotation is and how they look in final render, because so much of what we do is kind of just background stuff, rendering for layout, for storyboards and everything. They're kind of the skeleton work that just make a movie function, but it's that final design that really needs to hit home and really make sure that the audience looks at it and goes, yeah, that looks really cool. So the design team just did an outstanding job on this movie, so big round of applause for them for that.
Mario here, a big fan of Joseph Dark, by the way.
Oh.
Big fan. What would you like the fans to take from this movie?
I'm sorry, what?
What would you like the fans to take from this movie?
I think mostly it would just be the kind of love that we all had on it, honestly. It's like Jeremy, Rick, and myself were all fans of Superman the movie. We're all fans of Superman and Batman. And the fact that you have Superman and Batman, both of them having sons, was like a different dimension. And it's kind of a love letter to both of those characters in a way. We're introducing two new characters, but we're also kind of focusing on the legacy of two established characters. And that was something that I think was really important to us, is that to just get that point across is how much love and respect we have for these characters, and how much fun we thought they were. So if anything, that would be my thing that I hope people walk away with this movie, is they just have a lot of fun with it, and they see that they end up loving the characters as much as we did.
Here's the question. Given that we live in a, shall we say, cynical world now, I wonder, what do you think, what's your opinion of Superman's place in this world now, and also how his fatherhood changed?
That's a great question. Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of cynicism in the world, and that's very unfortunate. And that was something I was saying earlier about Superman as a character, is that he's got flight, he's invulnerable, he's got heat vision, but those superpowers are just power fantasies. I think the biggest power that Superman has is the power of just a great personality. And I think that for me, what I've always loved about the character is how he makes me feel. He inspires me to be a better person, just more understanding and try to help other people, and that's just been kind of the magic of that character. And I think that we try to bring that out in the film, and I think that for this world, like you're saying, I think that's more than anything. I think we could all use something from that. Just kind of the idea of thinking positively, caring about one another, and just trying to be the best person they can to make the world a better place. So I hope that carries off.
And his son changing him?
His son changing him is a different dynamic, because you got the idea of him essentially taking care of someone directly and personally. It's one thing to save somebody falling out of a building, but it's another thing to put diapers on him and make sure that he can walk on, be a good person. So it's kind of, you get to see more of a direct interaction with Superman and another character to make him be a better person, to be a caring person, to make him the best person he can be. And I think it's something I became a parent while working on this movie. Everybody's got kids who are working on this film. It's something that we all really thought about. It's like the idea of how to raise the next generation, hopefully give them the kind of values that we really need, and make them better than what we can do, Yeah.
All right, so for the villain of this movie, it's Starro. So why do you feel like Starro was a better villain to be in this movie than like one of the villains from the comics, like Kid Amazing?
Yeah. Well, I think Starro, you got Jeremy and Rick worked hard to make the script what they wanted it to be, and I think Starro was a great thread, because once you get Starro introduced, Starro spreads like a virus and basically knocks out, like you see in the movie, knocks out the adults, and it's a perfect way to isolate the boys. So now you have them having to work together as a team, and you also get to see them work completely on their own. They can't go to their dads and ask for help. They can't go to any other superhero. They're completely isolated. The whole world is being taken over. So in a sense, it was like a perfect hero, a perfect villain, to bring up against, to kind of bring the two of them together as a team.
Hi, I'm Austin with All Ages a Geek. Like just like your previous film, you're also tackling multiple characters, especially new ones. Like, how do you try to keep yourself organized with handling such a roster of characters?
Yeah. When you have like a myriad of characters, it can be kind of like a challenge sometimes. Thankfully, what we do is, not to get technical, but we end up directing the movies in chunks. So I'll be focusing on the scene that I have in front of me. And it's like a little mini movie, so I'll just make sure that I'm focusing on the motivation of those characters and making sure that they, work for that scene. And then we put the whole thing together and we see it as a big final piece. Then we're able to look at it as a broader aspect, and we're able to really dig in and find opportunities to exploit it another way. So part of the fun of filmmaking is just that you can really kind of focus on individual characters from time to time, and then step back, take a look at it, and get that opportunity to really dig in and find dig for some other gold, for instance.
They gave us the wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Gary he yelled at us before.
Oh my God.
It was not a pleasant scene.
Listen, you guys are beautiful. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I can never say I have a favorite film. All of them are magic to me and everything. But if I had to choose one, it probably would be this one, actually. All right.
Sorry. Thanks, guys.
He's a slave driver, that Gary.